Hello, and International Women's Day. Happy International Women's Day. So excited to chat with you today. I'm joined by Buick. I'm going to wait as people trickle in, and we're going to have a chat about some of my experiences in sport and beyond. And this is meant to be interactive, so chime in, let us know what you're thinking, how you're feeling this International Women's Day. Any questions you may have. Thanks for joining. I see so many people already. Hello. How are you guys? There we go. I'll get Buick on here. Hello. Awesome. Yeah, please pop into the comment section. Maybe share an anecdote about a woman that's inspired you, and what you're looking to do on this special day. Oh, thanks, Jeffrey. Every day we should be celebrating women and supporting one another. Hi. Hello from London. How's my day been so far? It's been great, really good. Just already some inspiring chats with some of my fellow Deloitte colleagues. So I've been hard at work, but I've been really looking forward to this chat. I think it's days like this when we can bring the narrative to the forefront, and yet Buick is doing so much constantly to support the next generation of innovators and leaders. And oh, here we go. I knew that it was going to be in this way with Buick in particular today. Hello from Brazil. Hi.
Hi.
Oh, there we go. Hi.
Hi, Tessa. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, Jennifer?
I'm doing great, thank you. Hello, everyone. Happy International Women's Day. I see a lot of you are joining, so this is exciting. Thank you so much for tuning in. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself to your audience as well. My name is Jennifer Sangley, and I'm the Marketing Communications Manager for Buick and GMC. And I'm so excited to be here on Instagram Live today, Tessa, to celebrate such an important day. So thank you so much for being here with me today and to share your insights and thoughts, looking back and looking ahead of all your accomplishments and ambitions with our viewers today. And I'd also like to add that today's conversation is such an important one for Buick especially, and it's such a great fit because Buick is the #1 female brand within the GM portfolio. And so today's the best day ever to talk about this. So before we get started into the main questions, I've prepared a few rapid fire questions for you. So I'm excited to hear from you about that. So let's get started. The first question is coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Nice. Italian food or Japanese food?
I would ordinarily say Italian,
Mm-hmm.
but one of the things that I've been really missing about skating lately is touring in Japan. We were so lucky to spend a significant portion of time there each year, and I miss everything about Japan. I miss the culture, the people, but I miss the food. I miss the food so much. So we were spoiled, and I hope to get back there soon.
Yeah, I agree with you. Japanese food and Italian. It's so hard to choose, but they're both really good. And the last question is cooking at home or dining out?
I love the idea of cooking at home. I'm gonna merge worlds here and say ordering in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great option as well. So now that that's out of the way, I want to jump right into the main questions. So the first one is, what are the earliest dreams and ambitions you remember having as a little girl?
Well, I have a sister who's 4 years older than me, and I walked around when I was young just copying everything she said and did. So there was a long time when I said I wanted to be at the Olympics for gymnastics, just because that's what Jordan wanted. But I do know that I had big dreams and aspirations from a really, really young age. And I recently found this cute little note with my little girl handwriting on it, and I had written a list of goals. And one was to win the Olympics. Who knew? Who knows what sport that was in at that time? I wanted to be on Oprah. I
Mhm.
wanted to, which then we were later on Ellen DeGeneres, so I'm kind of thinking, take that off, sort of. I wanted to buy a cottage for my family, and I have no idea why 10-year-old Tessa was concerned about that, but I was. I wanted to be on the cover of a magazine, which, maybe a little superficial, but kind of funny. So, anyways, I have like these little diary entries of documenting my dreams, and I was made to feel from a very young age that I really could do anything I put my mind to.
That's amazing. I love hearing that. And I think it's so amazing that you've actually realized that the Olympics dream too. So that's awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah. So tell me about your experience as a young female athlete. What were the challenges you experienced, and how did you overcome those challenges?
The first thing that comes to mind when I think about being a young female in sport, and I'll say this from the lens of an individual sport, which most young girls um, tend to gravitate towards, whether that's ballet or gymnastics or skating. It's quite individual. And I remember my mom saying that it was so secretive. So I have two older brothers. She grew up in team, or she had kids in team sports, young boys, and I think it was quite different. But I walked into the skating rink and I wasn't met with people saying, "Oh, here's where we get our costumes made, and are you injured? This is a physiotherapist you can use, and
Mhm.
this is where you can go to get your skate sharpened." It was like everyone was following this strict set of unwritten rules, but no one was sharing that with others. So the secrecy is something that strikes me when I look back on it. Of course, there was the pressure to conform to a certain body image and to match these unrealistic standards that were set for girls, of being small and tiny and petite.
Mhm.
Um, there was bullying, and I do think that's quite different for young girls. Um, it's just on a different level. But the other thing that comes to mind, especially in light of everything that's happening in the sport world right now, were the conversations I had with my mom. And Scott referenced this a few weeks ago. We were chatting. He said they were formative to our young athletic career, and that we sat down and dove into power imbalance, power dynamics, what is appropriate, what is inappropriate with a coach athlete relationship.
Mhm.
There was this really safe space that was created so that I knew if either of us felt even a tiny bit uncomfortable, we had someone to go to, and that was encouraged. And that wasn't just um, a support system, but that was like a protocol and a process that was set in place that I wouldn't have questioned.
Mhm.
And I do think that those conversations, that open dialogue is critical, that education for young athletes as we navigate what can sometimes be a very toxic environment. So I think, long-winded way of coming around to then how I dealt with that, I learned to think of skating as my job, and
Mhm.
I needed to feel fulfilled and complete and joyful in other areas of my life. I gave up a sort of a normal life, so to speak, when I was quite young, but I needed to find normal elements and aspects of life beyond skating. And skating was helping me to pursue goals and dreams, but that couldn't be everything. That couldn't be how I defined myself. And that was really critical.
Mhm. That's really inspiring to hear. Um, in terms of being in a gender equal world, um, how do you think that it would be different for young female athletes if we were actually in a gender equal world, free of bias, discrimination, and stereotypes?
Oh, let's just live there for a second, imagining that beautiful place. I think there would be more opportunities. There would be less judgment. I think about a world with equal sport funding, free of bias. There would have been so many trailblazers earlier on so that there was visibility and representation for young girls. It would have opened up the playing field completely. And we have a long way to go. We have a very long way to go before we can get even close to that. But hopefully, we're making strides.
I hope so too. I know you're an inspiration to many women, especially young women. What is that one piece of advice you'd give to the following people? to kids, to teens, to those who are just starting their career, and for those who are transitioning their careers?
To kids, I would say try everything and just play, have fun. I mean, I know there's this pressure or desire to grow up quickly, but and maybe you can't teach this to kids. I don't know, but I would say hang on to your childhood. Just be fearless and enjoy the chance to try so many different things. Teens, was that the next one?
Yeah, teens.
This plant looks like it's growing out of my head. Sorry. Teens, I would say it's cool to be different. It's really cool to be different. Find your niche and know that you're good enough. I also think when I think about teenagers nowadays, I think it would be important to emphasize empathy. So look around you, be really aware of the people around you and the environment, and see what you can do to start building relationships or make people feel better, to share kindness. Life has a tendency of evening out, and when you're a teenager, as you know, Jennifer, it can sometimes seem like that is everything. That is totally, defining, all encompassing your place in the world, and there's this pressure to conform or be this or that and fit in. But what is so special about individuals is their unique quirks and qualities, and I would love for teenagers to be able to embrace that.
I agree with you on that.
You had two more, one for starting a career and one for transition. Okay. Starting a career, I would say learn, open yourself up to the new challenges. Take it all in, and know that it's okay to make mistakes. I mean, you're just figuring it out. There's a new role, a lot of expectations, but it's okay to fail and fumble. That's natural, and I think we have to give ourselves a bit of grace.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a process, and you sort of have to trust that process of settling into a new work environment or a new role. And as far as transitioning, career-wise, any kind of change is hard. It doesn't matter whether that in any facet of life, it's very difficult, and we have to give ourselves a little bit of we have to be gentle with ourselves when it comes to change.
Mm-hmm.
I think be brave, be optimistic, and know that you have value. I think probably whether a change is self-motivated or imposed, there still has to be some purpose or why statement that you can attach yourself to, so that you're better able to sort of feel grounded in the eye of the storm as so much is happening around you. If there's a concrete sort of mission statement, that really helps navigating those murky waters.
Those are really great advice. I love them. After retiring from skating, you right away set course on new goals, doing your MBA, mentoring, starting your own business. Could you tell us a little bit about that and what you're looking to do, and what transferable skill sets were you able to take skating?
Well, I'm learning that this skill set from the sport world to life beyond, whether that's in the corporate realm or not,
Mm-hmm.
is so applicable. It's so relevant, and especially now, as we're all needing to adapt and be flexible to the ever-changing environment. So things like teamwork and goal setting and resilience and mental toughness, I think, has been a really critical pillar for me. That's been, a beautiful thing to sort of take all of those things in a realm that I knew so well, so intimately in skating, and mold them to fit my new life. I've just been keen to explore new ways of working, and I want to develop a creative side. I want to challenge myself, and I feel so grateful to have been able to say yes to new projects that really do feel scary and unknown and totally foreign, but really offer me a chance to grow and evolve and learn. And I think that's the most beautiful thing. I'm always keen to improve, and I want to be my best self no matter what I'm doing.
100%. Um, Here's a fun question. If you could have dinner with three inspirational women, who would they be and why?
Okay. Okay, well, there was no caveat to them being dead or alive, right? So
No.
I'm run with this. um, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, obviously,
Mhm.
just a total hero, legend, icon. Emma Watson, I love her so much. And today, I woke up really thinking about when Rosa Parks died. They displayed her body in Detroit, and my mom and I stood in line for 6 hours or something, and we waited, and we got to see her. And I was thinking about just how powerful that experience was. It was so quiet. There were so many people, and yet it was so quiet.
Mhm.
And her teeny tiny little body there, but just, I mean, huge in spirit and in legacy. Um, Gosh, wouldn't it be interesting to sit down with her and hear some of her stories and share in her wisdom?
Yeah, that would be amazing. And for those of you who are tuning in, we would love to hear um, who you would want to have dinner with as well, because it's really inspiring to hear all the different people that inspire you. Um, Following this question, what does the idea of uplifting women mean to you?
Well, there's nothing better to me than the notion of encouraging people do to to follow their dreams, to make them feel better about themselves, to make them feel like anything is possible. And I think the community that women are able to cultivate is particularly special. And I hope it's changing because there's this sentiment, at least when I was growing up, that, if you lift another woman up, somehow you're putting yourself down, or there's not enough room for,
Right.
a lot of people up. But
Hmm.
I think we're just so much stronger en masse. And if we can support and inspire and bring one another up, I think there's just so much power in that. And I just think it's a gift. I think it's a real gift to be able to do. And all my positive psychology studying would show that that's actually when we feel good about ourselves too, when we're doing something to help other people. So in a roundabout way, it's also really self-serving.
I agree with that. I think it's really important to support each other and support women in general. Because there's, again, like you said, there's so much room for that. Um, what is the best piece of advice you've received?
Trust your instincts.
I love that. That is so true. How would you encourage more women to pursue their dreams?
I think i think messaging is key, and messaging from an early age. It's really critical for young girls to know what's possible for them and to know that they can do anything they desire. It's really hard to sort of flick that switch at 60 and start chasing your dreams if you've not had experience, and if you've not been encouraged, if you've not had success and little wins along the way. I think then you learn to settle.
Hmm.
I think opportunity is key, and accessibility. So providing resources for people to try things and to be exposed to different activities. And I think that that's true in arts and sport and academic and community involvement. I think that needs to be really present and prevalent early on. I guess it comes back to that messaging for young girls. I think support. We were just chatting about the idea of this network of people, and we want to help. And I think building that, building a safe space around you where there are people you can lean on and look to for advice and guidance, just knowing that that network is there to support you is really key. And yeah, I think those would be the central themes when I think about empowering other women to pursue their own dreams and goals.
I like that. Tell us what you're doing to advocate for women in sports.
Yeah, I mean, I feel I've been so fortunate to partner up with some really wonderful organizations like Fit Spirit, bringing physical activity, accessibility, and resources to girls in high school.
Hmm.
Classroom Champions, a mentorship program for kids in schools to learn from the strategies, tools, and coping mechanisms that athletes inherently use. And I'm also mentoring some young athletes in skating. So I feel like that's a great way to sort of share my story and be an advocate and an ally, and hopefully have some kind of meaningful impact.
Hmm.
I think that mentorship is really critical, and it's something. Before you joined, I was talking about the mentorship programs that Buick is involved in, actually, that really help with innovation and leaders building this next generation. It's a really beautiful thing, and I'm so inspired by the work that Buick does as well.
Yeah. Um, So yeah, those are all the questions for today. Thank you so much for celebrating International Women's Day with us here on Instagram Live. And thank you so much again for being such an inspiration to many, especially the young women out there, and being such a great example of someone who has drive, ambition, and success paired with integrity and kindness. And I think you really show that. Even chatting with you and even working with you, like you're so kind. So, I mean, it's been such a pleasure chatting with you today. And thank you so, so much again for your time. And thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, Jennifer. And yes, we'll keep the conversation going in the comment section.
Mhm.
I'll be sharing this on my feed. So let's keep chatting. I want to hear your stories, and happy International Women's Day to all of you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye.